Welcome to the Etsy Conversations podcast, featuring inspiring interviews with Etsy shop owners, hosted by Ijama Elazu.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Etsy Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Ijama, and I thank you for joining me this week for another episode. My guest this week is Katie Jo, and she runs the Etsy shop Katie Jo Artsy. She's been on Etsy since 2017, and she has a really exciting story about things that she's done, which I can't wait to get to. But before we do that, Katie Jo, welcome to the podcast, and thank you for being my guest.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited about this. This is great.
I am too, and I'm glad we connected on Instagram. Lately, I've been at the end of the podcast letting people know that's where I'm most active, because one of the things I decided to do was just streamline and cut down on social media and just pick one. And for me, that has been the easiest way to really communicate. So thank you for reaching out on Instagram. That really helped to facilitate this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just ironic because Instagram is not my one pick.
Which one's your one pick?
I use Pinterest. I have about 800,000 views a month through Pinterest. Wow. Yeah, but I do communicate some through Instagram. I definitely get back to people that way, but I haven't grown my audience there as much as I like to in the future.
Yeah. And for Pinterest, it's all for Etsy and that's, oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. I guess we'll get to that before we jump in. So before we do, can you just tell us about you and what you make and sell on Etsy?
Sure. My name's Katie Jo, and I've been running the show. I've been running the store, Katie Jo Artsy.
That's your show.
That is my show.
Yeah.
I'm a trained actor, so those kind of words come out. So I started in 2017, and actually I sold a chandelier. I've become addicted to auctions, a problem. So I put that on there and I sold it, but I didn't put on my jellyfish until May of 2018. My background is theater and art. So I'm a sculptor, painter, actor, stage actor. And I also do set design. So that is my background, and how my pieces that you see on my shop now really were influenced by that love of creating an environment that changes and teleports people into a different world.
Yeah.
Like what you were watching a show on stage.
Yeah, I see it. Initially, when I went to your Etsy shop and I was looking around, I thought, wait, why do I feel like I'm under the water? Because I was looking on my phone, and the phone, unlike the desktop app, you don't see the header where you get to see your description of your store.
Yeah.
And then, eventually I picked up on it. I got it, but then I thought, oh, okay, that's the theme.
A great day for me was the day that I had posted some photos from Katie Jo Artsy on Pinterest of my jellyfish. And you know how it shows like images if you scroll down?
Yeah.
It showed like images, and they were live jellyfish.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I've made it.
Yeah.
It's working. They look like real jellyfish.
Yes. Yay. Pinterest thinks they are. I'm done. I'm good. Yeah. Very nice. So how did you end up on Etsy, and why did you decide to make Etsy your primary marketplace to sell them?
Well, two main reasons. The first is it's free to start an Etsy shop, and it's 20 cents to make a listing. So that's all I knew when I started my shop, and I did it the hard way. I taught myself everything, and it took some time.
Yeah.
And the second reason is I loved that it was a community that is based on the fundamental idea and principle that these are handmade items from artisans, craftsmen, and people like me that you can find one of a kind, unique pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really, that was it. I mean, I just decided, all right, 20 cents, I'm just going to do it.
And when you jumped in, did you take some time to educate yourself first, or did you just figure things out as you went along?
I figured it out as I went along. David Mamet, he's a playwright, and one of my favorite quotes from him, I'm paraphrasing here a little bit, but he said, if you ever want to write anything good, you've got to put something out there that's really bad. So that's kind of my philosophy. Not that my work is bad, but just starting out. When you're starting out, you're going to figure it out along the way.
Yeah.
And so I just put it up there. I was scared. My first order, I was practically in tears. My mom, thank goodness she was with me. I'm like, they're going to hate it. They're going to, oh my gosh. And they loved it. And so since then, I just have improved my products. I'm always thinking about new ideas. So I didn't do a lot of research ahead of time because I just dive in and learn as you go.
Yeah.
All you can go from there is up. And no one's going to remember, oh my gosh, I looked at her products 2 years ago and they no, all you can do is make it better. No one's seeing your not so great stuff, even though my jellyfish they're pretty great. Even.
No, I completely agree with you. And for anyone who is listening to the podcast and thinking of starting an Etsy shop, because I know sometimes people listen before they open and they still have some trepidation about doing it. It might not be great in the beginning. I know with the podcast, I can barely even listen to like my first few episodes because I feel like I sounded so robotic because I didn't want to make any mistakes, and and I did anyway. But you improve over time as you do whatever it is you're trying to get better at.
Right. That's exactly it. And you often, I think people don't realize their own self-worth, not self-worth only, but the worth of their skill set and their gift.
Yeah.
For me, I didn't realize how good my products were that I was making, that I listed on Katie Jo Artsy, until they were on there. And then I got the overwhelming response from people that loved, and it made me realize, wow, this is something. Up until that point, I didn't fully recognize that my gift was something unique.
Yeah. It's funny how we don't see those things in ourselves, huh?
Right. Not fully the potential there.
Yeah. So when you did open your shop, what was your frame of mind coming into it? Was it just, I know you decided to take a chance because the barrier to entry was low, but what was your end goal? Did you intend to make it your source of full-time income, how you make your living and support yourself? Or was it just something that you planned to do on the side and see how it went? And, if things just didn't pan out, you would have moved on.
I definitely did not think it was going to take off like it did. Back in 2017, I had just listed one chandelier. And that sold. And after that, I didn't have anything on my shop for a while. I was working as a nurse. And after I'd done some set design and used the jellyfish, I thought, I've got this Etsy account. I'm going to post it on there and just see what the response is. And that was it. I wish I had planned more and projected in my head more, becoming as successful as I have been, being in the top 6% of sellers. Because now I'm here.
Wow.
I'm at that point, and now I'm like, oh gosh, how do I need an assistant. I need this. The demand is there. How do I really develop this small business that is now this is what I do for a living.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely unplanned. And I would definitely encourage people, when you're starting your shop, imagine what it can be, because that's how you're going to manifest it and be ready for it when you get there.
So how have you adjusted to this unanticipated success on Etsy? As in, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. adjusted to it in that, like, what have you done to, I guess, I don't want to say self-correct, but, to align yourself with what it's become. Does that make sense?
Do you mean like as it's expanded and
Yes.
as my numbers have grown? Yes. I'm still in the process of doing that because the number of orders has become like, I just got one. I'm not kidding. It just popped up on the screen. So adjusting to that has been a lot of planning. I'm actually in the process right now of hiring another assistant.
Oh, good.
And learning how to budget. I've done a lot of, cranking the numbers and figuring all that business side of it out.
Yeah.
That's how I've really adjusted. And also I work in a studio in my house. When I say studio, it's my living room. And it's just full of boxes of supplies and just being prepared so I have enough stuff. Because when I first started, I just listed it because I knew I'd already made it for a set, for a show. I didn't have the supplies, so I had to, I was ordering everything individually. So as I expanded, I planned a lot more for the future.
Okay.
I know I'm going to continue to get orders. So
yeah. Okay. So as your excuse me, as your sales have grown, you've adjusted. What went into, let me rephrase that. Not what went into, but how did you find the right type of help that you needed?
For me, it was a lot of experimentation. I read some articles. I listened to your podcast a lot, and I just tried it. The great thing about Etsy is you can just try it. And I don't use my computer much. I use my iPad and my phone, and I also struggle with insomnia. So if I'm up late at night, I just go on the app and I look up different things and different buttons. And, what does this do? It's not going to explode or crash or anything. So that's really, I kind of self-taught.
Okay.
In retrospect, and what I'm doing now is kind of paying it forward. I love mentoring other people in other shops.
Yes.
I'm going to be releasing a Skillshare course on how to start an Etsy shop, because it was difficult for me to also find those tools that were concise. I want to break it down, give people the basics. Hey, with Katie Jo Artsy, here's what I did, and here's the bullet points of what you need to know and how to get there.
Yeah.
Because with mentoring people, there are 2 shops that I've done it in the past few months. I've realized that it took a long time, but I've gathered this concise group of information that's really important and boiled it down through trial and error.
Yeah.
So I want to share that with more people.
And just as, what's the word I'm looking for? Proof of what you've done, having mentored someone else. You worked with your mom this year, who opened her Etsy shop in April. And for context, we're recording this conversation in June of 2020, and she opened her shop in April of 2020. And right now she's already at 141 sales, and that's April, May. So that's about 2 months roughly. So what you taught her and what you mentored her in, is that exactly what you're going to be doing in your Skillshare course, so that others who might not have the opportunity to work one-on-one with you will still get that type of instruction, so they can see this type of, because I think this is like early success to have that many sales so soon, on Etsy.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to be doing the Skillshare and recording it. And by the time that this airs, that will be available. So yes, I want to share those things that I work with my mom on. And there's also, though, I want to acknowledge, like, her store, PJ Scrubs. My mom is an amazing artist and seamstress. So we took hold of that, and then I helped her with the Etsy marketing and how to launch the shop. She's already got 2 people who work for her.
Oh my goodness.
So we worked on developing products that, because as a nurse, this is right around when COVID started to hit.
Yeah.
And I was going to be going to New York to work in the tent hospitals. That actually ended up not happening. But I said, Mom, I need a scrub cap that will cover my hair. I have long dreadlocks, so I couldn't find one that would work well. And I also wanted a specific type of mask. Mom, can you make me these? And she's been sewing since she was 10. And she made me them, and they are the best. Like her scrub caps, they're reversible. They have a little ponytail pouch.
Yeah.
They are the most high quality things. And also I helped design them. So I'm a nurse. So they are exactly what you need, and they're well tailored. And so that is a big part of her success too. But also for her, it was me encouraging, nope, Mom, just post it. It's 20 cents. Post it. Fix the photos later. So those tips and how to promote yourself are what I want to help people with and what I love doing.
Nice. So I will also link to Katie Jo's mom's shop. Her name is Pam, and her shop is PJ Scrubs. Mm-hmm. Now, so she's picked a niche. Do you also train, or will you also be training people how to select the right niche so that they can stand out on Etsy? Because there's a lot going on Etsy.
That is very true. Yes, I will talk on that, and I might even have one, because with Skillshare it's several courses that are included. So I will have one where I might even dedicate the whole thing to just talking about finding your niche. And how I like to phrase it is knowing your audience. Yeah. So initially I don't think about that. I think about what kind of product I would want. Like with the jellyfish that I made, I knew how I wanted them to look. But since then, I've developed products that are similar and like light up treasure chests and crowns. So they all have a similar type of look and feel. And my title of my shop is for the whimsical at heart. Those who like a little bit of magic, or I forget exactly what it's phrased, but that's my niche. Do not go on Pinterest to find your niche. You will only find perfect looking things and you will feel overwhelmed. And I can't do this because everyone else has already done it.
Yeah.
Do not do that.
Yep.
You find your own inner voice and develop that. And our brains are on fire with ideas. We're always coming up with new ideas. Keep a notebook and write them down. And part of it is they will naturally you'll look at that notebook and your photos and your sketches. You'll find there are some connections there, and you can mold that into a niche, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that does. That makes perfect sense. And it's funny that you say that, because yes, I've heard, when you're selecting your niche, I've heard some people say go onto Pinterest and see what's popular and see what people are looking at, and that will give you an idea. But what you're saying is actually counter to that, because
do that after.
Okay.
I'll look at it sometimes, but it's after I've created my product, after I have my idea, because you do not want your inspiration to then be influenced by what everybody else is doing.
Right.
Because everybody else is doing something. That means they're not going to get your product. They're not. No.
Yeah. Okay.
So believe in yourself.
All right. That makes
and then
sense.
go afterwards.
Now, before you started your whole Etsy venture, were you working elsewhere? And at what point did you know, okay, Etsy is going to be able to carry me, I can walk away?
I was working as a consultant, as a nurse, and at this point I had already had my Etsy shop open, and I was actually not able to take that many orders. And what happened is that consulting position ended, and all of a sudden it was like, okay, I'm going to start applying for jobs. It was on LinkedIn, and then I started getting orders. Like, wait a second. I'm going to give this another week before I take another nursing job.
Oh, wow.
And it just kind of went from there. And I realized I'm going to give this another week. And all right, I can, survive one more week. Now, when I say survive, I've never worked so hard to be so poor in my life. I mean, this is the reality of having an Etsy shop.
Yeah.
Even quote unquote success for me. I mean, at this point, I've made over 2,000 products. I am by no means making as much money as I was as a nurse, but I was in this position where I don't think I would ever have had the success I do if my job hadn't ended and I was looking for another one. So for people who have a job right now, it's scary, but if you believe you've got something great, see how it works. And if it's starting to work, take the plunge, man. Just do it.
Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen? Top ramen is 10 cents a pack. You're going to be
And the gourmet noodles are maybe like $1.29 a pack.
Yeah. See, once you get a couple orders, then you can upgrade to the gourmet.
Then you can upgrade. I like that. Yes. So that's it's interesting that you say that, because a couple of episodes ago, I interviewed Lee Barry. Her name is Lee Nodar, but her Etsy shops are Lee Berry Watercolor and Lee Berry Irish, and she also is a nurse who transitioned from nursing to Etsy full time, because eventually she was able to match what she was making, and then walk away from nursing because it worked. So. But here's the key: is it took time. It didn't happen right away, and so she was persistent and she was diligent, and eventually she was able to. So for anyone who thinks you're still struggling and you're not there yet, it's possible, but you have to be persistent, and you have to know that or believe that the product that you're making, what you're making, is good enough that people will want to buy it, enough of it that will sustain you.
Right. And keep experimenting. If people aren't buying it, maybe you need to focus in a little more on knowing your audience. Or sometimes don't get discouraged. Like, I have created things before that didn't sell, but I posted it, and then you can look at the stats and see, okay, is this working? Is this not? Am I hitting the mark here? And that's how you always want to be creating and thinking of new ideas. And that's, I think, such an important part. And just be ready. If you're going to keep your job like she did it as a nurse, be ready to work 15-hour days or more.
Yes. Yeah.
If you really want it, you can have it. You just have to really want it. And also be ready to sacrifice and eat a lot of top ramen.
Yes. Now, you mentioned that sometimes you'll have a product that doesn't do well. What's your process of determining when it's time to just cut the cord, let it go? And how do you go about actually, well, I know it's easy enough to remove it from your store, let the listing end, but then what do you do with it? Because you won't need to make any more of it, and nobody bought it. What do you do with the products that don't sell?
I actually haven't had that many that haven't sold, but I encourage people, don't make 50 of something, make one and put your quantity of 1 or 2. Make one. So for me, something, actually, I've still got it on my shop. It's super cute. I love it. It's a light up wreath. It's covered in seashells, and it's it hasn't been that long. It's been up there. I think it's been up there a month, but I'm so used to my jellyfish just
flying off.
But it's on my front door, and I love it. So but I've only made one. So that's important. And sometimes it takes a little bit of tweaking too. So like the SEO, so your tags, stuff like that.
Yes.
All of a sudden, it might be that people just aren't finding it.
Yes.
Or look at similar products. What is there something about theirs that's better than what yours is? How can I improve this? So I don't have a bunch of stuff lying around that I've made that hasn't sold. Because I only make one of them.
Yeah.
And there are things that I would want in my house anyway. So
yes. So that leads me to two questions. One, that's a good strategy. The first question is, how much time do you think is reasonable to give a product before giving up on it? So one 20-cent listing is good for 4 months. Would you say maybe 2 cycles or 3? Well, 3 would be like almost the whole year.
it
the whole
depends on pricing and how many people are looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a sculptor, and there is on Katie Jo Artsy, there is a mermaid sculpture there, and it's several $100s because it is the original sculpture. It's not a cast.
Okay.
So that's been on there for a while. But I know that it's a beautiful piece of art, and sometimes those will take a while.
Okay.
And as long as it fits into your shop and you can look at it, and also maybe have somebody else like look at your shop. If you have a good friend, like my next door neighbor, Tyler, he will let me know if something isn't subpar. So to ask people, be like, what do you think of this? Should I keep this on my shop? And if they like it, then leave it on there and keep renewing it for 20 cents and tweak your SEO, your photos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And then because you only make one of something until you get an order, that's a good way to not have inventory lying around. Typically, how long, what's the turnaround time? And more importantly, are they okay with waiting on their items? Because one of the things that I know, Etsy says that helps to improve where you show up in search rankings is having a short processing time.
Right.
And so, the longer it is, technically somehow, they say that affects where you show up. But, for you, your products are so unique, so it might not be a factor. But for other people who might be in a saturated niche, I don't even know if that question still makes sense now.
No, it totally makes sense.
Okay.
So I no longer, once a product's taken off, quote unquote, like I know that my light up treasure chests, my light up jellyfish, and like my ice crowns, my fire crowns that light up, I know those pieces are in demand. So then once that has happened, then I'll start building up my inventory because I know. So I take a small chunk of my time to dedicate to making new designs, and those are the ones I only make one of. But once you're established, hey, people really like this or that.
Yeah.
Then you can start boxing them up and stacking them up, and people will buy them. On that same note, though, my products are so unique. I make almost everything to order, and there are so many different options. Like the treasure chests, you can have 3 different sizes, different colors. You can have a treasure map decoupage on the inside of it. You can have your kid's name. Like I'm doing one for somebody and has Damien's treasure written on the inside in aged parchment. So my processing time is longer, but my customers understand the most part. They're getting something that is made just for them.
For them, yes.
So the jellyfish too, you can do just about any color combination you want. Plug-in lighting, battery operated lighting, multicolored lighting. So a lot of them I am making individually, so my processing time is a little longer. Yes. Okay. I'm not Amazon Prime. I do not ship the next day.
No drones hovering around your...
No, I wish. Wouldn't that be great?
So now I don't know how often you use the desktop version of Etsy, but now there's this feature. If you're looking on the desktop, and I'm not sure if it's on the app as well, because I don't use the buy on Etsy app too much. There's a feature where it tells you how many people have a particular product in their cart, and so Etsy will tell you, and I'm looking at your shop now and I see, some things have, 20 people have them in their carts, some 10, and so on. And so some more. Do you use that information for anything, like to maybe send a coupon to those people to encourage them to buy, or maybe on your end, maybe make some more in anticipation of those people eventually making it to checkout?
That is something that right now, because demand is so high for my products, I do see that, and I actually don't use the desktop as often, but you can see it on the app as well, the Etsy seller.
Okay.
It does show me. Well, first time I saw that, I'm like, 20 people, what? Buy it. So I know that I did set up the campaign. I believe that if people have it in their cart, Etsy will send a email to them.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what I did. I might have put a coupon in. I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah.
But there's still, I think, 11 different choices for the style of product.
Oh, okay.
So it helps me gauge how many materials I need to order.
Oh, okay.
I do take that into account, but a lot of people, I think, put stuff in their cart because they like it. And I know I've done that. I have stuff sitting in my cart.
I was just about to say, I think I use my cart very differently than most people, because I use my cart to gather ideas. Not to copy, but like if there's something I'm thinking about, or like a room I want to redo and I like how somebody staged their product, and I might not really need what they were selling, but I like how the room looked, I'll put it in my cart so I know how to find them.
That's a good idea. I do that too. But something else, like I would encourage people for my shop right now, because my processing time is extended, is favorite my shop and favorite the product, because then when as something sells out, which has been happening quite a bit lately, as soon as I am able to get that in stock again, then you can get a notification says, oh hey, either Keto Artsy has a new product listed, or I think it'll tell them like this item is now in stock if you favorite.
Nice. Okay.
You'll definitely show up. Yeah.
Good to know. So what does a typical day look like for you, and how do you divide up your daily tasks, and how do you manage your time, including just taking, your regular downtime just to not be working?
I am a recovering procrastinator. I say recovering instead of procrastinator because I'm actively working on this. I am definitely an artist at heart. So I'm like, ooh, shiny butterfly.
Yeah.
I can go off in a million different directions. I'm also not a morning person. Okay. So the great thing about Etsy is I am able to get up later in the day. I'm not going to say what time because it's a little late today, but I work until 3 a.m. And how I break up my day is the night before I write it out and I break it down by hour. So when I have those moments of being flighty, like, ooh, I need to go and pet my dog. It hasn't been petted in like 10 minutes. Or I have a new idea for a product. I want to work on that. I see, what I'll do is I'll jot down what I want to do, even pet my dog, whatever it is. And I put that in my section on my schedule under my break section. And then when I get to my break, I can pick one of those things. So that helps me stay on track a lot.
Yeah.
Note, you can't do that now. You can work on designing that new light up cape at 1 p.m. And then you stop at 2 p.m.
Yeah.
And go back to doing your orders. That has been probably the best thing for me.
Yeah.
To help keep me on track.
Oh, very good. I started keeping a notebook too next to me actually, because I think I'm very similar in that way where, I can get distracted by things, or, if I'm thinking of a new idea, I want to do it right then.
Yeah.
But it helps to stay on track, to finish tasks. If I can write down something like you said, pet the dog, write that down, I'll get to it and then finish what I'm working on.
And also, I carry a sketchbook with me everywhere. And if anyone opened it, it looks like a 5-year-old drew in it. Because if, our brains, we constantly are having ideas and you think you're going to remember it.
Yeah.
You're not.
No.
So I draw out, if I'm standing in line at Walmart and I just have an idea come to my head, I pull out my sketchbook, and even maybe it's with my left hand because I've got stuff in my other hand. I open it up and I draw out I've designed, here's these. I'm drawing now as I'm talking to you. I can't help it. Like I've got this idea for mermaid hair that lights up. I'll put it on a headband, and the photo is awful. The drawing is awful, but it keeps it so I can look back and be, ooh, that's what I'm going to do on my next break. I'm going to design that.
Yeah.
And then I go back at my sketchbook and I highlight and I put them on my wall once I've developed them, and they're on Etsy and they're selling.
So just based on what you've said now, it doesn't sound like you have many moments of experiencing creative ruts.
I have lots of ideas. I experience what I call the hitting the wall.
Oh.
So for example, my jellyfish, I had 48 hours to design these and have them hung up in the auditorium for when it was for a production that was under the sea themed. When I intentionally keep the photos of my prototype because it looks so bad. But I knew in my head I had something there.
Yeah.
So you have to keep going through that. There's going to be a point where your stuff doesn't look so great. So push through that. You've had an idea, keep going with it. For me, it's like, I know this is in here. This looks like garbage. But in that 48 hours, I kept pushing and I pushed through that. Okay, here's a new way. Keep thinking about the lighting, different things. Okay, what do jellyfish look like? One time I was swimming in the ocean and I saw a plastic bag and I almost had a heart attack. Okay, what's lightweight material? True story. So, and then I started finding lightweight materials and then, shaping them, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just keep going with it when you hit the wall.
Okay. I like that. Have you ever had to deal with any negative feedback or customers who got your product and realized maybe they didn't love it as much as they thought they would?
I think that's every person's dread.
Yes.
And the first time I got a bad review, I'm pretty sure I stayed in bed for an entire day. Just because, these are things that are truly coming from the heart and our hands, and we put our heart and soul into these pieces.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's not going to be for everybody.
Yes.
And like for me, like with my processing time that I've had to extend, by the time people get them, for the most part, they're thrilled. But our brains have a tendency to remember the bad reviews and
Very
not
well.
the overwhelmingly the positive.
Yeah.
So this is something I think everybody should have a therapist. They're great. But my therapist told me, she's like, you need to start actively thinking about all of the positive reviews and those, 3 bad ones compared to 100 good ones aren't going to be at the forefront of your head anymore. Let it go. It's going to happen. It happens to everybody. It's okay. And then remember the person who, like for me, when I was contacted by the CW to do Jellyfish for the season premiere of Dynasty season 3, which is on Netflix now.
Congratulations.
That was so cool. But, that was amazing. And that was awesome. So who cares if someone didn't like it?
Oh,
you have
yeah,
one
huh?
like it. You've got a production company who's saying, this is awesome enough to go on TV.
Yes.
So
Yes. No, I completely get what you mean. And I think that is, like you said, it's our human tendency to
mhm,
just focus on the negative, but and forget every other good thing that we've ever heard
mhm,
and dwell on that one thing. But yes, getting an order from CW Network to, to have one of your pieces, I'm sure helped you forget and get out of bed. If it had happened any time around then. But that's not the only studio that has reached out to you. You've also gotten orders to do work for Universal Studios Orlando.
right, yes. I've had several organizations or well-known names, I guess you could say, like Netflix for a TV show or Universal contacted me through Etsy to do custom orders. I never would have thought that that was something that would have happened, but it did because my pieces are, I create things that are unique in that they transform people. Everything on
Yes.
Katie Jo Artsy is meant to enhance the experience. So I've got clients like Universal Studios in Orlando. They used them for their Mardi Gras parade. They did the jellyfish on big poles, and then they had stilt walkers holding them.
Oh, wow.
But the thing with, and it was at night, and the thing with lighting is so cool, is you can create in a moment, like no other art form. You can completely transform the feel of that room or that space. So I've had some of those bigger production companies use my work to help create that feeling.
Yeah.
If you have a couple jellyfish hanging in your room and you turn the lights off, the overhead lights, you feel like you're in another world.
Mm-hmm.
And that's is just something that, like at Universal, every little spot, like I got to go there with my friend, and I got to go for free. It was so cool.
I was going to ask, did they invite you to see it?
Yeah, they're like, hey, swing by if you're in the area. I'm like, I am in the area. So, but there's like the Harry Potter room. And of course, the whole time I'm thinking of how I could make it better. But not, I mean, the Harry Potter, it's amazing. And it's creating these spaces, these beautiful areas. And I have a lot of customers who work for like restaurants doing like giant cloud lights or kids' rooms under the sea theme. That's a big part of it.
So do you have any idea how these production studios found you? I know they found you on Etsy, but did you do anything to draw attention to your shop or your product other than just what you were doing on a regular basis on Etsy?
I asked the set design team for the show Dynasty how they found me. And she said, I think I found your jellyfish on Pinterest. And then she wasn't entirely sure, but she was doing like a Google search or something. I don't think she was on Etsy. So Pinterest has been an amazing platform for me to get my stuff out there for two main reasons. One is that if you're looking for jellyfish, if you type in jellyfish lights, my stuff will come up because they're pretty unique in their style and design.
Yeah. And
the second thing is because Pinterest uses image related, I don't know what the word is.
Image search?
Like Pinterest, if you are searching for something, like if someone's looking at a live jellyfish on Pinterest and you scroll down and it shows like images, it'll now show my product. Okay. So and people who like live jellyfish probably also would like one of my lights too. So that's been a great way. I have about 800,000 people who see my stuff through Pinterest every month. So that's how those production companies probably found me, that and Google.
So do you have a particular Pinterest strategy now? And I ask this because the images, I know Pinterest is particular about their image sizing, and they have this, dimensions that they say work best on their platform. But on Etsy, I know when you do your listing, you can just click that Pinterest button and send it to Pinterest, send it to Twitter. Do you do anything special other than just clicking that button?
Sometimes I click that button, but a lot of times I take videos. Videos are what people love on Pinterest. And also videos of light up products. You just can't quite capture it in a photo. And if you're scrolling through Pinterest and all of a sudden you see something that's moving and sparkly and lights up, oh my gosh, that's a giant treasure chest full of sparkling gems. I'm going to click on that. So when I make products, I take a short video clip of it and I post it on Pinterest. And that was when it really took off for me.
Now, Pinterest did not always allow videos, right? That's a relatively new feature.
Mm-hmm. They've really upped their game.
Wow. I don't think I've been on since they started doing videos. I can't even imagine what it looks like now with videos. And
it's great.
Can they be any length?
I forget. I think maybe it's a max of 30 seconds.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly. I don't always do the full 30 seconds.
Okay.
But the great thing is you can just take it from your phone. Like,
that was my next
most of the
question.
stuff is my phone, and I do a little short video clip and maybe a couple photos, and I hang them like my jellyfish. I'll hang them out on my parents' patio because they're also waterproof. So if it starts raining, whatever, they're good. And I'll just take a quick video before I package them up, and then you can directly from your phone just upload it to Pinterest.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that was going to be my next question was, do you use any special equipment or what have you, but just your handy dandy phone?
My phone and my iPad are my tools.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how about shop promotion? So we've talked about Pinterest. Is that the only, or I guess that I know that's your primary social media platform. Do you do anything else on any other social media platform? I know we already talked about Instagram, but you said that that's not really your main one. So do you just devote all your attention to Pinterest and nothing else?
At this point, I don't really have to devote a lot of attention to advertising. I pop up in Google search results towards the top if you type in Katie Jo Artsy or light up jellyfish or jellyfish lights. You'll see me on that first page. So I haven't had to, and Pinterest sends about 60% of my traffic every month.
Wow.
I would love, as I expand here, like growing the business, I want to hire more people and really, decrease those processing times. I do want to get more followers on Instagram, because that's really, if you go to Katie Jo Artsy on Instagram, that's fun because you'll get to see stuff that I'm in the process of creating. Nice. You get behind the scenes. I take photos in my studio that's not Pinterest worthy. I post on Pinterest too, but it's much more real. It's like, this is life, guys.
Yes.
Like, this is my living room. And I think people like to see that. One of my most popular pins is one that my mom took, a video clip of me, because I hang my jellyfish up and then I give them a haircut, I call it, where I kind of trim the ends. And she took a video of me in my studio doing that. And it's like, people have repinned that so many times. And I look at it, I'm like, this is a mess. But that's the kind of stuff that on Instagram that I like to include as I make it more personal. So I hope to expand and spend more time dedicated to getting more followers there too. So
okay. Now, regarding showing up in Google search, did you specifically target the keywords that you show up for in Google search, or is that just something that happened organically?
Kind of a mix of both.
Okay.
I would recommend people sign up for erank.com. It's free.
Yes.
And that is a great tool for looking, and you can see like like that's how I know I'm in the top 6% of sellers.
I was going to ask, how do you know? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, that's E-Rank tells you that. And when I first saw that and I saw it ticking up, like you're in the top 15, 10, I'm like, what? But it also it kind of, the magical use of whatever algorithm stuff, it evaluates your listing.
Mm-hmm.
And it will also give you ideas like, okay, you have this tag. How many other people are using it? So you can use that to kind of hone what tags you're using. And once I get to a point, like I have this one listing that shows up in Google all the time. I do not touch it. That whatever magical thing happened there, whatever tags.
Yeah, don't mess with it.
Nope, don't mess with it. Don't touch it. It's working.
Nice. Yeah, I know I'm always impressed when I see Etsy listings that do show up in Google, and sometimes it might be a fluke, or sometimes it might be tailored that way. But just so Etsy sellers know, you can actually tailor your listings to show up in Etsy using keywords and targeting specific keywords. And so when people are looking for those things, even if they don't know that they're looking to buy it, but you can still draw attention to your shop that way.
Yeah, and I would encourage people who are listening to this, if they are interested in my products, go directly to the Etsy app or to my store, or look and search on there, because then you're directly supporting people and artists like me, that you're keeping me able to make more products. Through Google, now Etsy does they do ads now. Etsy does it.
Okay. I see what you're getting at. Right.
They take a certain extra percentage of my profit because they're advertising them for me. So that can cut into costs. I understand why they're doing it and the benefits of it. It does get your stuff seen more. I have noticed that. But if you want to just go directly to the Etsy app, and then I won't have to lose that.
Have you found that you're getting many sales through the efforts of Etsy, doing the Google advertising? And I believe they call it offsite ads. Ads. Yeah. Yes.
So then they start listing for you on Google, I think Facebook, and a couple of other platforms. I am getting quite a few orders.
Okay.
I'd have to look back and see, because it's a relatively new thing, at least now, like when we're recording this.
Yeah.
And I wasn't that excited about it because it does cut into if someone clicks on that and then buys it, then they're going to take a percentage. I forget exactly. It's,
Yeah, depending on how much you make, it's 12 or 15%.
Yeah, that's a lot extra for me, and I don't want to increase my prices anymore. I try and keep them relatively reasonably priced. So it's a tough thing, because I think initially for new stores, it's great. But the demand is there for mine. I don't really need their advertising. I know that sounds funny, but that's where I'm at with that.
Yeah, I guess in your case it does make sense, because you have a product that's already in demand and people are finding you organically. But yes, for new sellers or those who are struggling to be found, that's where ads do come in. But yes, with the way it's set up, for anyone who doesn't know, you don't really have a choice. They will do it for you.
Right. And if you've had if you've made under a certain amount of money or had under a certain number of sales, you can turn those off. However, once you've made a certain amount, then you don't have the option.
Yeah, it's not optional anymore.
But you also have the choice too to do your own additional marketing too, if you want to run a sale or that kind of thing to generate views.
And you're talking about just the regular Etsy sales, or using coupons, or are you talking about on Google?
I'm talking about through Etsy, like Etsy marketing.
Yeah.
The one that we've been talking about so far is something that they do, and they pay for
Yes.
initially, anything. But then you can also have yours pop up on the Etsy platform.
Oh, right. Yes. Through
earlier.
the promoted listings, right?
Promoted listings. That's the word. So you also can do that.
Have you done that?
I have in the past, and that's what I would prefer to do. I don't have the option of opting out now of the Etsy marketing.
Okay.
But I like that tool that's within the Etsy platform, because it lets me control how much I want to spend per day. And it lets me decide if I want to turn it on or off for promoted listings. So I don't have any, I don't think right now. I haven't been using promoted listings, but it's a great tool for people if you have a newer item or you're a newer shop. Put your budget at $1 a day, and it doesn't mean necessarily you're going to spend the whole $1.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll get you seen.
Okay. Now, still talking about promoting your shop, one thing some sellers do is start an e-commerce site and start blogging to use content marketing as a way to drive traffic. Have you delved into content marketing at all?
I have started a Shopify store. It's called joejelly.com. That is on my to-do list. I would love to start doing a blog and convert over to my own independent store. It's a lot of work.
It is, yes.
And I have done, I did Dragon Con last year, and I sold out of my products, and that was amazing. And I used the Shopify platform to do my in-person sales. But I think having your own website, that's really where your empowerment is going to come from. Then it's completely your own. Having Etsy has been great. I don't think I'll ever get rid of my Etsy shop. But once you can start sending traffic to your own website too, that's pretty awesome. Driving sales that way. But I need to work more on figuring that part out of it. And right now, I don't have the time for that.
So let's talk about that. So when you have projects like this that you want to get to, and in this case, something that you eventually do plan on getting to, because that will help to expand your brand, how do you organize yourself, or how do you prioritize things, or maybe set deadlines so that you get to everything that you need to get to eventually? Right.
So to me, that is a business and marketing strategy kind of section of the file folder of stuff that I want to do. So how I organize when I'm going to do that is, okay, what do I need to do first in order to get there? If I'm going to have my own independent website that's up and running and an Etsy shop, I not only need one assistant, I need 4. So it's budgeting for that first, and training people and getting the financial, for me, I don't have the finances to hire that many people.
A team, right?
So I lay it out, I bullet point my goals, and I budget my money so that I can start to do those things, so I can eventually get my Shopify going.
Nice.
And then if I have any fun downtime, it's not doing as many fun things. It's more, let's look at Shopify and how I build this.
Yeah.
And so I can be prepared for it. It's very infrequent that I really have a vacation.
Yeah. Well,
But,
when your business is in active growth mode, I think that's expected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On that, sorry to interrupt you, but I just wanted to add something that's really great about Etsy or selling online that I want people to know is, all of a sudden you are free to work from wherever you want. That is the coolest thing. I can set up my studio. It's relatively portable if I want to. I'm going my boyfriend just bought an RV not that long ago. So next month I'm going with him to, basically we're just going to tour wherever we want. We're starting in Colorado, and I am literally shipping 2 weeks worth of supplies to him. Luckily he's got a big RV.
Oh, wow.
So we'll both, and he works remotely too. So we'll both work all day during the day, and then, go skipping through the Colorado mountains in the evening. So that's something that was really cool, is your hard work all day long can pay off, and then you can go do fun stuff anywhere. You have a lot more freedom. You don't have to be somewhere at 8 a.m. or your boss is going to be mad.
So how do you plan for something like that? How do you anticipate how many or how much, well, that's not proper English. I was going to say how much packing supplies, but supplies for shipping and making your products. How do you anticipate how much to take, and what happens if you run out and you're somewhere in the middle of the Rockies?
Right. Right. Luckily because he works remotely too, so he has got great Wi-Fi. He's got it all set up and everything. Okay. So Amazon will ship just about anywhere too.
Okay.
They probably will drone drop it up in the Rockies. But I do buy some of my pieces or some of my materials from Amazon, but I also have suppliers, and almost everything is delivered to me. I don't go into stores, and I look at it I know down to the minute how long it takes me to make a piece. Okay. So like my biggest seller, my jellyfish, I know that they take an hour to an hour and a half, and I know exactly what supplies I need for those. Okay. So I was talking to him today about I'm shipping X amount of lighting to your house that he's at right now in Seattle. Okay. And then the rest of it, I've calculated in my head exactly what I need, and I'm bringing that in boxes on the airplane. If I get stopped by TSA, they're going to be like, "What in the heck? What is this?" You should go. Here's my card. Yeah. Why don't you go on Katie Joe Artsy, and this will explain what's going on in that box right there.
Or just bring out your phone and show them on the app and say, "This is what this is going to turn into."
I do that sometimes. When people when I'm at Home Depot and I try and explain what I'm making, and they're like, "Wait, you need insulation for windows for what?" I'm like, "Let me just show you. Here you go."
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
I would like to have a camera one day, just follow somebody or just stationed where TSA is, just to see all what they see and hear all what they hear, because I can only imagine.
Yeah. I'm always wondering what they're looking at in the little x-ray machine, I've looked at that. How do you know what that stuff is?
I know. I can't even recognize stuff I packed in my suitcase. I'm like, how do you know what that is?
That? Jerry Seinfeld makes a joke about that. He's like, "What is that? A hair dryer with a scope on it? That's okay, bowling ball with a candle wick. We don't want to scope." Like how did he, But and sometimes I stopped and started. They're like, "What is?" So I bring my products with me. Yeah, so far they've just been like, "Oh, that's cool. It looks awesome."
It doesn't look like it'll blow up, so fine, just go.
So they were like, "Yeah, sure, yeah."
Now, what's something about selling on Etsy right now that you really enjoy, and for the future, what features would you like to see on the platform that don't currently exist?
I love about Etsy that's unique like none other is the connection with people. I love how people, like today, somebody messaged me and said, "I love this so much. This is great." And that's that instant communication. A lot of people who go on Etsy know that they can go on Katie Joe Artsy and message me and say, "Hey, I want this. Is there any way you could design this for me?" And I'm going to respond right back to you. It's a very personal connection that I get to have with my customers. And I make their products. And even though I've had over 800 sales now. I still remember some of their names, and different orders and stuff, because there is that personal connection.
Yeah.
And also I love I've had some people who recognize that I have as an artist. Like, I sell this light up Mardi Gras mask, and I had a wedding venue, Tan Weddings and Events. They contacted me and said, "Hey, we're doing this event, and she loves the Wizard of Oz. Can you make 6 Wizard of Oz themed masks?" And I'm like, yeah. So I did it, and that was so fun because I got to work with them one-on-one on designing them. And now I have them available on my shop too.
Nice.
But it's that personal connection.
Yeah.
And what I would like to see on Etsy, and actually what they're working on right now, it says beta testing. So maybe it'll be, by the time this podcast airs, it'll be live, is I wanted to see videos. I want videos on listing. And now you can upload videos. I don't know if it's live yet.
Yes.
Because, yeah, that is awesome.
Yes.
My products need to be seen lit up
moving,
in a video.
Right? Yeah.
They're dimmable. They have different light settings. You can do a 360 of it then. So all of those cool things that I'm able to show on Pinterest, I can now, once they launch that feature, that will be awesome.
Yeah. I would imagine video would work so well for what you sell too. And I have to tell you, for the longest time, as long as I've done this podcast, I think that has been like the number one most requested feature. When I ask that question, is, I would like video. I'm
feeling that maybe Etsy listens to this podcast, and maybe they are taking that into account, because it's in beta testing. And I got an email that said, you upload your videos. It was an email encouraging us to do it.
Yes.
Like, yes, that means they must be moving forward with this. So maybe they listen to Ijama.
Yeah. I can only hope.
Oh, I'm sure they do. This is an awesome podcast.
Thank you. What is, or what would you say are some things that maybe in the beginning you didn't feel that you did to set yourself up for success, but in retrospect, what are some things that you did that you can now trace back to and say, yes, doing that or those things have helped me be successful in what I'm doing now?
I think ever since I was little, I had an amazing mom who's very creative, and she always encouraged me to explore and try new things. And something that has added to my success is that spirit of creativity. Since the beginning, I encourage people to don't ever lose the sense of fun and whimsy in what you're doing.
Yeah.
I held on to that, and I've always created products that have that sense of whimsy and magic. And that is a huge part of what has made me successful, I think. It's so easy to start to get stressed out because not everything's going to go right. And one day you might have 0 sales, or maybe a week, and then all of a sudden you've got 20.
Yeah.
And you can get overwhelmed by that. But remember, the point of your shop when you started is to create something unique and beautiful. And staying positive, and that energy, I carry that with me. That's why, and I'm glad that I was able to do that.
Yeah.
It's brought me to where I'm at.
I think that could even double as advice for a seller who's listening now and just maybe feeling a little bit discouraged or just, not getting what they wanted out of it. I think what you just said is very encouraging, because we do hit those walls and they can slow you down sometimes to, the point where you start questioning whether or not it's worth it.
Yeah. And it is my mom with PJ Scrubs, she was at, even though, like, Mom, your store has been so successful, because she's like, I haven't had any sales in the past few days. Like, Mom, okay, mom, let's just check in real quick here. It took me several months before I had my first sale. Like, you've got me helping you show you how to do this. And Mom, stay positive, please. And she's such a positive person. But when that happens, when you hit those ruts, instead of just feeling defeated, think about, like, with Katie Jo Artsy, I'm thinking about, okay, what can I do? What are people, who is my audience? Picture them in your head. Mm-hmm. What are they looking for? How can I strategize to make something that will make them feel that whimsy and that fun again? Yeah. Instead of just being, oh gosh, I haven't had any views, I know. It's hard, but you have to train your brain.
Yeah, especially when you go in with so much expectation, and then, but I have to laugh at your mom. Just a few days, she hasn't heard the cha-ching, and she's
the cha-ching thing is like the cha-ching. Now, if I hear anything on TV, like if it sounds, I'm like, oh, my ears like perk up. Yeah, like, I think anything sounds remotely like a cha-ching. And for people who haven't started a show or Etsy shop yet, the cha-ching is when you've got a sale. Yes. So any high-pitched sound or bell, like, oh.
Yes. I know. I find myself acting like a trained dog, too, when I hear
That's exactly. It's like, ooh, treat.
Yes. It's like, as soon as it doesn't matter what I'm doing, it's like, oh, yes. And then last week I was talking with Brian from Flora Workshop. No, a couple of weeks ago. And we said the same thing. Was it Brian? I can't remember who, but yes, where, it goes off and you're excited. And then you think, okay, now I have work to do.
That's exactly it. It's and oh no.
Yes.
Yes. That's it. One other thing I would say to encourage people is there's been a big movement lately for maker spaces. So looking in your area for a local maker's space. Yeah, that has been tremendously encouraging to me. And for people who aren't familiar with maker spaces, what they are is you can join for like a monthly membership, and they have different tools you can use, and it's full of other people who are woodworkers, who love welding, who know how to make printers and computers from scratch, like all of these amazing skills. And we're all in there together to help build and create new things. And I am a member of Decatur Makers, and it's decaturmakers.org if you live in the Atlanta area. Okay. And they're a nonprofit company, but everybody who's in there, what I do is unique and what they do is unique. And it cracks me up how everyone will be like, oh my gosh, this is so, this treasure, and it like, and I'm like, you just are splicing DNA in the other room. Like, I'm sorry, Kevin, who's the manager, like he has this amazing little name tag that lights up and it says his name, Kevin, on it. And he's like, oh yeah, that was easy. I just, developed this like little computer board chip and then I used the laser printer. I'm like, Kevin, that is very hard to do. Yeah. But that's what the great thing is, everybody has a different skill set. So it's very encouraging environment. Yeah. And they have them all over the country now, these maker spaces.
Is there one parent makerspace organization that I can direct people to so that they can, maybe it has a directory of all the local maker spaces around the country or hopefully around the world?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Okay, there should be. I have homework to do. So I will look and see if I can find a parent. So, okay, the one you belong to is Decatur Makers. That's decaturmakers.org. I will put the link to that. So anyone who wants to check it out, especially if you're local to that area, you can go and check that out. And then I'll fish around from there to see if I can find a parent organization and link to that so that other people can try and link up with their own local maker spaces.
Yeah. And that gives you also the opportunity to use tools that are maybe otherwise out of your price range, you never would have been able to experiment with.
Okay, so these are physical locations that
Mhm.
makers can go to and just do the work on their craft, but also connect with other makers locally.
Yeah.
They're not
Yes.
like organized meetings like a
Nope.
mixer or anything. It's just a place to go and make and connect with other people who are there
Yeah.
making. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And so you meet some of the coolest people. And at Decatur Makers, uh, not only is it nonprofit, but also the really encouraging of younger, like, so kids to come, I think like as young as 11. And
Oh,
so they can
nice.
come and make, there was this dad and his son, and he was making a trebuchet. It's
Oh, yes.
I didn't even know what that was. And he's making it on a laser, the glow forge machine.
Oh, I want a glow forge.
Oh, they're so cool.
I know I can't
So,
afford one, but I can
yeah.
dream.
I can dream. And that's the fun thing, though, is even if I had one, I wouldn't know how to use it. But if you're in a maker space and they have one, you've got a bunch of people around who know how to use it.
Yeah, yeah.
And we also do organized like classes. So you can expand your mind for the possibilities as well as your skill set and everything by joining a maker space.
Interesting. And did you say there's a cost to belong?
Yes, there is. It depends. It varies from region to region.
Okay.
And yeah, ours is Decatur Makers is very affordable. We are a smaller group, and they also do take donations as well. They want to keep the price relatively affordable to encourage a lot. Like there's no way I could have joined if it was like hundreds of dollars a month. And some of them are, I mean, they're awesome. They have like all kinds of like welding rooms and stuff. But one of their missions is to empower people to create and learn through hands-on experiences so that it positively impacts the lives of the community. So they do keep it affordable so that starving artists like myself could join, you know.
Yeah.
And it's been great.
And the classes that they offer, are they taught by just other local makers, or do they have professionals come in? Well, I shouldn't say professionals, but you know, outside people. Yes.
The cool thing is there are a lot of professionals who are members of Decatur Makers, but they also will sometimes have outside people come in. And you can also, there are not just Decatur Makers. I know some of the other maker spaces do this, where if you're not a member, then you can pay to take a certain class.
Okay.
The classes are generally taught by people, though, who I can't speak for a lot of other maker spaces, but ours, like Kevin, like everybody who joins, they get an intro to basically the space and how to use it.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Intro to wood shop working, so you don't cut your hand off, you know, with the circuit saw. Like I still have to take that class. I don't go in the woodworking room.
And I would imagine too, it's a nice way to learn a new craft.
Yeah, like what the heck is a CNC machine? I know now, and I need to take that class on how to use it.
Nice. Okay, so for sure I'll link to that, and then and like I said, I'll try and find if there's maybe a directory somewhere so others can find theirs. And so regarding resources, so there's this maker space and you have your local one. eRank, you also mentioned. Are there any other resources or tools that you've found particularly helpful in your business endeavors?
One of the hardest things about having a shop and operating independently out of your house, I'm sure you've heard this before, is that it can get a little lonely.
Yeah.
So I've got 2 dogs, and I do talk to them throughout the day, and on the phone and with other people on Etsy, which is helpful. But yeah, finding like your local maker space, and also there's a Shopify sponsored meetup group all over the country.
Oh.
And they sponsor it. You don't have to have a Shopify store, but they host these every couple months. And then they'll invite people who have small businesses. It might be a brick and mortar, it might be a Shopify store, and you can go there and, you know, listen to them and ask questions, and then also meet other local people who are making stuff.
Oh, good to know.
So
Okay.
that's a great resource and tool too to help.
Okay. And can we find out about that on the Shopify website or on the Meetup website? Because I want to put a link to it. Do you know how to?
Oh, I forget it. It's through, I think you can find it through the Shopify website.
Okay. So then I'll look it up and then I'll put a link to that as well. So that if
And
folks want to connect.
Like I said, it's free and you don't have to have a Shopify store. And though Shopify sponsors it, it doesn't mean it's just like strictly Shopify. Like they're really encouraging of local makers and small businesses, and it's a whole range of different things. And right now, because of the COVID situation, they've been doing them online.
Online, yeah.
But make sure you register because they do fill up.
Okay. Both online and in person?
Actually, I don't know about the online one. I would hope that one doesn't. But you still register for it. You still have
to register. Okay.
But the in-person ones, yeah, because they only have so many seats.
Okay. Okay, so for sure, I've never heard about that. So this is why I like doing this. We learn all these new things.
Yeah.
So I'll look that up. Thank you. That's good. I'll look that up and put a link to it because yes, I know a lot of us work alone and it does get isolating and sometimes even the people around us don't really understand or get what we're doing, and so they can be supportive, but there's a different kind of support you get from your kinfolk in the creative space. So
we're in the trenches. Exactly.
Yeah. Now, do you have an Etsy shop shout out? For sure, we're going to shout out PJ Scrubs, but any other Etsy shop that you just want to mention, just send some love to another seller.
I did. Facebook has this mentoring program and I signed up for it, and I had somebody contact me through there who was starting their Etsy shop, and it's called Madly Wild. And I helped her kind of as she had just started a new shop. She hadn't had any sales. And I think I was her first sale, and now she's had a couple hundred. And that's not this. I want to shout this out because she's great at what she's doing.
Yeah.
I did help her along the way a little bit, but yeah, check out her shop. She sells, she does sewing and a lot of different things. And she just bought an embroidery machine.
Oh, that's another thing I want. I want too many things.
I want all the things. I have Amazon wish list. I just got a wood burning kit, the Coalwood wood burner detailer.
Oh my goodness.
And it is so cool. That was for my birthday.
Well, congratulations. Now you have even less time.
I know, right? So that's on my list of things I can do on my break.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yes. Okay, so I will link to your mom's shop, PJ Scrubs, and I will also link to Madly Wild. And folks, if you could just go check them out, see what they're doing, just give them some Etsy love and tell them that Katie Jo sent you.
Yeah.
Katie Jo, what's the best way people can connect with you if they want to?
So Katie Jo Artsy, well, real quick first, let me mention something. When you're picking the name of your shop, think about it, because you can only change it once, and it's too late for me now. You can spell Katie, Jo, and Artsy all different ways.
That's true.
Oh, yeah, mine is KatieJoArtsy. And so you can contact me through Instagram, my Etsy shop. You can message me. It's also KatieJoArtsy@gmail. It's my Pinterest account. So I keep all of those platforms. Instagram and Etsy messaging are probably the best way to get a hold of me. And I would love it. Please feel free to ask me any questions. Anybody who's listening. I love hearing from other people, and I love saving people from the torture that I went through of figuring out like how to ship stuff.
Nice. Yeah.
So feel free.
Yeah, I know. It sounds like you do enjoy helping people, not just, because you've helped your mom and the madly wild girl what's her name?
Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting.
Okay. And the madly wild girl, but then also coming out with you a Skillshare class as well.
Yeah.
And so we'll look forward to that too. I will put a link to Katie Jo's Skillshare class so that you can go check it out. Do we have a name for it yet?
Well, you can search it through Katie Jo Artsy on Skillshare. I haven't named it yet. I'm still putting it together. All
right. So by the time you're listening to this, you can go to convome.com, and this is episode 280, and I will have a link to her course so you can check it out. And let's see. You
can also type in Skillshare Katie Jo Artsy on Etsy.
Okay.
And that will be the intro title for one of the Skillshare classes.
Okay.
I also wanted to share for people who have listened to this podcast, I appreciate you guys so much. And just to show some love for everybody, I am offering a coupon. If you want to purchase anything on my shop, this will give you $10 off. Just type in Katie Jo Artsy 10 at checkout, and that'll automatically apply it to their cart. And that works for however many orders you want to do.
Oh, thank you, Katie Jo, for providing that. And I'll put a link to that coupon code in the show notes for this episode as well. So if you go look it up and you follow that link, then automatically they'll get the discount, right?
Yeah, if you follow the link, it pops it right into your cart.
Okay.
So it's already applied.
The cool. Magic,
yeah.
Yes. Katie Jo, thank you so much for dropping by and sharing just all what you're doing on Etsy and how things are going for you. Congratulations on the success you've already found. And I say next stop, Disney, right?
I am so pro Disney. Yes. Disney World, contact me. I'm ready.
Now, if Disney is listening to this show, I will pass out. So if they do contact you and tell you they heard you here, let me know.
I will. We'll both just have a freak out moment.
Yes. And I thank you also for listening to the podcast. If you would like to connect with me, right now, I'm most socially active on Instagram at Convome Podcast. You can also go to convome.com. The show notes for this episode with all the links that we've mentioned will be there. And if you want to sign up for any of the upcoming EtsyU workshops and webinars that I'm doing, just click on the workshops and training tab at convome.com. And I will be back next week.
Thank you for listening. You can subscribe to the podcast in iTunes, and while you're there, please leave a review too. Visit convome.com to leave a comment or feedback on this episode.